Hello friends, welcome to Salesforce Cs video session 116. So basically today we will just learn a very easy concept which is related to one node which helps you to convert a dimension into measure. Okay, so in Salesforce Cs we deal with three kind of field types which is the dimension, measure and the date. So we will understand how we can do on the data flow side as well as on the recipe side. On data flow you have a node name called dime to me, which helps you to convert. And on recipe also, we will check how that can be converted where, under the transform node, you have a option to do that. Okay. So let me go to my Analytics Studio. Let me directly go to data manager, manage data flow and recipe. And I think we did till free session 13. So let me create a data flow and name it as free session 14. And what I will do is, first of all, I wanted to show you, we already have uploaded, one data set. Okay, there was a CSV file with which I've uploaded. That was a very simple CSV file. I think in one of the session, we already understood how to make that CSV file. Okay. So it's just that I have the candidate name and I have the ID, simple as that. That was just a CSV file which I uploaded. Now this is nothing but, this is nothing but a dimension. Okay, when I uploaded that CSV file, this was as a dimension. Now I will just convert this into measure. Okay, I mean, we will walk through a very simple example just to ensure you understand what is the whole purpose of that node. Fine. And of course, you can follow that same process in applying wherever you require that. Okay. So firstly, of course, I will go for the HMART node. Okay. So whenever you have any existing data set or whenever you have any existing CSV file, we go for the HMART node, which is fine. And I will write here candidate name. Okay. So node name also let me write as candidate name. Okay. And there's a node which you have called time to me. Fine. So once you click over here, maybe I will just write uh, mm, ID to something like that, maybe ID to measure. Fine. ID to measure. Source will be candidate name, dimension will be ID, right? And measure, let me write it as something like role. Okay, roll number, something like that. Fine, roll number and measure default, that's fine. Measure type is long over here, and let us create that. That's how simple it is. So I've created one node where I'm just converting this ID into measure, and the name of that measure will be roll number, and we will check how that appears. Okay, so let me write that full thing over here, and very simply I will just give a register node, and I will just write here something like roll number in measure, maybe. Okay, it doesn't matter the name. And here I will just go for that node, that is ID to measure, and I will just click on create. Okay, that's it. And let me just update your data flow. The data flow failed for free session 141. Data flow definitely for free the data measure default. Okay, measure default. Measure default, let's say write it as 0. Okay. Field name roll number is already in use. Let's update once again and let's check your data flow validation. So I have just taken this roll number 1, which is fine. And let's check, did I have that roll number anywhere? Candidate name was here. What about this roll number? Okay, roll number. Fine. So I think we have to provide this measure default. Okay, there will be a default measure, and let's check how this will show up. Okay, so let's monitor this right now. So finally this ran successfully, and what I will do is I will just check it on the dataset side. What is this popping up? Roll number in measure. Okay, it's not. Okay. Now, if you see over here, like here, we have the summation of roll numbers. Okay, that thing which I created, that field. So that's the thing about this. And under bars, you will have the ID as well as the name. So basically, there will be that particular uh, dimension field which will exist as it is, but we created a new di field and we just took the help of that existing dimension field and ensure that is converted to measure. Okay, so yeah, of course, right now if you want you can do the summation over here. Of course that won't make sense, I know that, fine, but that's one field which we just ensured it got. So this 2 plus 1 will give you 3, that got changed to measure. That's the whole purpose. I mean, I walked through a very simple example. Fine. Now that's the thing about this one, time to measure, where any dimension field which you have will get converted to measure. Okay. In case you need anything for dimension, ideally we don't need any scenarios, but there can be sometimes a scenario as well. Fine. Now we will understand how this can be done through recipe. Fine. So what I will do is I will quickly move to data flow and recipe, and free session 19. Let me create free session 20. That's fine. So I will click on add input node. I will create this external data set, which is fine. And I will go for this candidate name. Okay. I will click on next. Now we have this transform node where that particular functions will be available. I will click on this transform node, and here once again what I will do is so I will select this column called ID, and what I will do is here you have an option called text to. Okay, so under the transform node you have an option called text to, and you can just click on number as well. Fine. So here if you click on number, and maybe it will be, so basically here you have an option where you want to ensure that it gets changed. So basically that particular text, do you want to directly change it to a measure, or we want to change it separately? You have that option on the recipe. So for example, I want to go for a new column. Okay, so yeah, I can just write over here something like roll numbers. Okay, and let me click on apply. Fine. So that's what I did. I created something called as roll number, as you can see. Okay, maybe I can play around with this scale. So I can write the scale as 0. That's completely fine. I can change it so that that point doesn't appear. Okay, and as you can see, this has been changed to measure. So whenever you have hashtag sign, so when you have this, word art sign, it's of course dimension, and when you have that hashtag sign, it's nothing but actually measure. Okay, so that's what it's been done over here, and of course I can write something like converting ID to measure. Okay, and finally we can go for an output node where I can simply write something like candidate complete info. Okay, just simply give a recipe name and we'll paste it over here. Click on apply, and finally we can save and run this. Let me name it as free session 20. Okay, and finally we can monitor this over here. So let's monitor this. So finally, this particular recipe ran successfully, and once again, if I just open this data set, so here I could have actually saved it in my recipe data set, which is fine, not an issue. I have this recipe data set, I can save it over here. But yeah, anyways, for now, we will just check it very quickly. So let me open this particular recipe. And here also, as you can see, I have this summation of roll number, okay, which is giving me 3. And if I go to my values table, like you will be able to see that, one more additional column got created, which is roll number. Of course, if you want, I could have removed that ID. So basically from this same recipe, when I was getting that option, right? So I'm getting this option like where I want to show the result. So if I go for new column and drop original, what will happen is it will create a new field called roll number. For example, if I just click it over here, okay, and if I click on apply, what will happen is you will create a new derived field, which is, and of course you can change this heading, that's completely fine. But as you can see, it will create a new derived field, and a new name will be there. That is one option. And if I go for original column, then what will happen is in that same column which was written ID, over there only that ID column which is there, will simply convert that into measure. Okay, so there are 3 variations which you get when you are dealing with recipe. Of course, on data flow it will create a new derived field, and if you want to drop the original, so the question can be like, what if I don't want to see this ID in data flow? Then of course you have to go for the slice data set, and on recipe you directly get that option on the left. Okay, so yeah, pretty much that's about it. And maybe in further sessions we will also try to understand like how from text you can create to date, and vice versa, like how from numbers also, like you have that option of going for a text. Okay, so these are something which we'll have. But otherwise, more or less we came to the end of the complete data layer. I would say we understood the data flow completely and recipe side. And yeah, maybe we will have a few more things related to recipe where I will show you some additional functions of the transform node, and maybe I will do a quick recap of whatever we learned on the data flow and recipe. So yeah, that's about this video. And definitely do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.